You may be familiar with the recently introduced Deepal S07, but it's time to say hello to the S05. As the name implies, it's slightly smaller than its S07 sibling, and it's now confirmed as coming to Australia in the second half of 2025. In the Chinese domestic market, it's offered as both a range extender electric vehicle or a pure battery electric vehicle, and time will tell which form comes to Australia, as both are currently under evaluation.
It's a small to medium 5-seat SUV, destined to jump into one of the most competitive segments in the Australian new car market. Prior to the S05's local debut, Deepal Australia invited us to drive it at Deepal's parent company Chang'an's close to 1,500 hectare proving ground in Chongqing, China. So here's a preview before it hits Aussie showrooms later this year. Australian pricing for the S05 is yet to be confirmed, but in the Chinese market it ranges from the equivalent of $27,000 to $33,000 across Pro, Plus, Max and Ultra grades. And Deepal Australia is still refining the local lineup to include range extender models, battery electric variants or both. In domestic trim, features varying by model include LED exterior lighting, a power tailgate, 1.9 square metre panoramic roof, 64 colour ambient lighting, multi-zone climate control air, 8 or 14 speaker audio with 4-zone karaoke and 2 external speakers, ventilated and heated seats, front and rear on upper models, synthetic leather trim and more. Final Aussie specification as well as import and distribution costs will inevitably bump that price band up. But the Deepal will challenge the likes of the Chery Motor 5, GWM Haval Jolion, MG ZS, Mitsubishi ASX and many, many more. At just over 4.6 metres long, 1.9 metres wide and 1.6 metres high, the S05 has a solid planted look, with thin headlights in the chiselled nose giving a quietly imposing Iron Man vibe, while LED strip lights across the tail enhance the techie feel. Frameless doors and flush-fit flip-out handles add some extra style and aero efficiency. The carefully curved S05 boasting an impressively slippery 0.25 drag coefficient. And the interior is defined by things you might expect to see in an electrified SUV, as well as some typical inclusions that are missing altogether.
In the front of the S05, and you're confronted with an open dash because there's no conventional instrument display for the driver. A large head-up display pretty much takes its place. There's a 15.4-inch floating media screen in the centre, and it's a very open and airy feel as a result. From a practicality point of view, there are bins in the doors with room for bottles and more. There's a large bin between the seats with a lift out top. It goes way down, it's hard to see the bottom. There's a couple of cup holders, a tray, and it's a wireless charging device for your phone. There's also a big bay underneath the centre console with a little cubby at the front and USB connectivity as well. So it's pretty well set up and feels minimalist and pretty cool. Sitting in the back of the Deepal S05, behind the driver's seat set for my 183 centimetre position, I've got lots of foot room, leg room, headroom, and this enormous fixed roof means it's tremendously airy in here, and there is a sliding cover, so no problem from the heat point of view. From practicality standpoint, there are bins in the doors, there are USB-A, USB-C, an individual vent control for the back seat, which is always great. You've got no pockets on the front seat backs, which is a bit of a miss, but also you've got a fold-down centre armrest with a couple of cup holders, and really, for a compact SUV, there's plenty of space back here.
Boot volume is 464 litres in the range extender and 492 litres in the BEV, the latter also offering up an additional 159 litre front trunk. The pure electric Deepal S05 is powered by a rear-mounted permanent magnet synchronous electric motor, sending 175 kilowatts and more than 300 Newton meters to the rear wheels, while the range extender uses a similar but marginally less powerful setup. The big difference is a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder engine sitting in the EREV's nose, acting purely as a generator, sending power to the drive battery but not the drive wheels. The battery electric S05 carries a 56 kWh lithium iron phosphate battery, and claimed 30 to 80% charging time is 15 minutes, with range set at 510 kilometres on the slightly more optimistic CLTC scale. The S05 EREV features a smaller 27 kWh LIP battery, but still claims a handy 155 km pure electric range, this time to the more widely accepted WLTP protocol, with a 30 to 80% charge time of 20 minutes. Claimed combined range, factoring in the range extender, is in excess of 1,200 kilometres, with official economy of 4.35 litres per 100 kilometres. A brief but varied drive at Chang'an's proving ground on everything from harsh bumps and thumps to sweeping open highway sections showed the S05 to be quiet, comfortable and predictable. Suspension is by struts at the front and a 5-link arrangement at the rear, and the 18-inch alloy rims are wrapped in relatively comfy 225x60 rubber. 20-inch rims are optional. On this brief meeting, ride compliance and body control felt good. Steering assistance is speed variable, and although its weighting is light, road feel is acceptable. 0 to 100 km an hour comes up in 7.3 seconds for the BEV and 7.9 seconds for the EREV, while braking is by vented discs at the front and solid rotors in the rear, with regen braking in support. We'll have to wait for details on active and passive safety tech, but stand by for high-level assisted driving with a full suite of ADAS active features, as well as fitment of multiple cameras, radars and LiDAR sensors, varying according to grade in the home market. That said, we'll be keeping a sharp eye on the calibration of active safety systems for local conditions, an area where the larger S07, especially driver attention and lane keeping, has been found in need of fine-tuning recently. Expect Deepal to cover the S05 with the brand's 7-year, 160,000 km warranty, with 12 months roadside assist and separate 8-year, 240,000 km drive battery cover. Cap price servicing will almost certainly be offered. The Deepal S05 will be facing close to 20 well-credentialed, well-equipped and well-established players in the mainstream small SUV segment when it arrives in the second half of the year. Our first, albeit limited, impression is that it has the looks and dynamics to potentially make an impression. But of course, pricing, specification and local on-road performance, including safety systems, will be critical to its success. Stand by for a more thorough evaluation as soon as it lands locally.